After establishing a strong base of Patipatti, Goenkaji took up the wider dissemination of Buddhavani, the teachings of the Enlightened One. By his own experience, Goenkaji knew the benefits of combining Pariyatti with Patipatti. With this vision, the Vipassana Research Institute, VRI, was formed in 1985. The principal objectives were to conduct scientific research into the benefits of Vipassana, its impact on society, teaching Pali language, and exploration of the sources of Vipassana in the Tipitaka.
खास करके मेरे ख्याल से त्रिपिटक के हिसाब से ज़्यादा उन परियत्ति पे ज़्यादा उनका फोकस था कि इस पे रिसर्च होना ज़रूरी है, क्योंकि उसी कारण से ये जो फॉर्मेट है कि श्रीलंका में और अलग जगह पे एक्सेप्ट किया भिक्खु लोगों ने, क्योंकि गुरुजी की एक्सपर्टाइज थी परियत्ति में भी।
गुरुजी का ये ख्याल था कि इतना काम फैल रहा है तो एक सेंट्रलाइज जगह होनी चाहिए कि एक तो वहाँ जहाँ से मटेरियल फॉर डिसेमिनेशन ऑफ धम्मा अवेलेबल हो, जो साहित्य है नया नया साहित्य गुरुजी ने रचना की है, तो उसका एक प्रॉपर मैनेजमेंट हो, वो इजीली अवेलेबल भी हो सके और काम आ सके। उस पर्पस से वीआरआई का फॉर्मेशन हुआ।
One of the first projects that VRI undertook was the publication of the Tipitaka, the priceless teachings of the Buddha. VRI published the entire Tipitaka in Devanagari script along with its commentaries and sub-commentaries in 140 volumes. It used the authentic version as compiled in the 6th Sangaina in Burmese script as its base. After its publication, VRI digitally encoded the entire Tipitaka and made it freely available in 15 important languages of the world.
ये टिपिटका गुरुजी ने हाथ में लिया। मैं गुरुजी आप बोलो तो मैं करा दूं, मैं तो प्रीति को बोलूँगा और वो करने को तैयार है और कैपेबल ऑफ डूइंग इट। इसमें दो शंका ने आपके फिर से बहुत बोझा कम हो जाएगा। प्रीति बहन सब चीज हाथ में लिया, आखिर टीम बनाई, सबको बर्मी सिखाया, सबको ये सिखाया, सबको वो सिखाया करके जबरदस्त टीम तैयार की और काम इतना हो गया कि गुरुजी की अजायबी लगी कि गजब है।
VRI started residential Pali courses for meditators even when the facilities were primitive. Today, these courses are being conducted in the campus of Global Vipassana Foundation with all the modern facilities.
Started this Pariyatti, all the scriptures, Buddha's words and the commentaries and all that, and then we are seeing that what we are doing is exactly according to the words of Buddha. Of course, many people have translated wrongly because they have never practiced Vipassana, so they can't understand the real meaning of some of the words that Buddha used. But when you practice, the words become so clear, and that gives a strength to us that we are doing exactly same as Buddha wanted us to do.
To introduce the original teachings of the Buddha to the new generation, VRI, in affiliation with Mumbai University, has been conducting various degree programs such as MA, PhD, along with various short courses since 2013.
And by reading, I understood more the smaller steps. And I started also to read the Dhammapada. So every little step I can understand much more, and how important it is to dissect and to go deeper. And I got so stimulated to do better meditation, more concentrated.
While Goenkaji expanded the availability of Pariyatti, he continued to emphasize Patipatti over Pariyatti.
सिर्फ परियत्ति से काम नहीं चलेगा, थियरी से काम नहीं चलेगा, पटिपत्ति साधना करोगे तब इसका अर्थ समझ में आ जाएगा।
पाली के पंडित हम लोग हो सकते हैं, पाली पढ़ा सकते थे, लेकिन जो ज्ञान बढ़ा गुरुजी के संपर्क में आने से ज्ञान बढ़ा अपने को।
इन सती और संपजन्य का अर्थ मैं नहीं जानता। ये साधना करने पर मुझे पता चल गया कि क्या सती होती है, क्या संपजन्य होता है।
देखिए, he gave all importance to Patipatti, but then he said for advancement, study of Pariyatti is also essential, लेकिन not at the cost of Patipatti.
Wider dissemination of Pariyatti added force to the principal tool of spread of Dhamma, word of mouth or Ehi Passiko.
Word of mouth is the word of real experience. Somebody experiences and tells others, well, I have experienced it, it's so good. But when we start advertising by these medias, then it becomes more a commercial publicity, and it won't have that effect. And moreover, we have our own limitation. These courses are residential courses, and there must be facility for people to stay and practice. From the time we started working, whatever facility we had is always full. And as the facility grows, more people come. If more people come and there is no facility, what's the use of this calling people by publicity? So as much people as they come by words of mouth, the facility is available, and that much is good enough. And like the slow widening of the circle is again the purity of it.
In the initial years, it was amazing to see the spread of Dhamma even when no mode of mass communication was employed.
We were in Bombay, and I met a person, a woman who I'd met in Goa, and we were discussing about different meditation techniques. She had just come back from a course, and her face was just glowing. And I remember we were checking into the Stifels Hotel, and she said, just go and do this course. So we packed our 3.5-year-old daughter. We went halfway across India in the luggage rack of a second or third class train, and we ended up in Sevagram, which was a Gandhi ashram. And fortunately for us, we had no idea. We had no idea about anything other than this is where the course is, and you used to go there.
The early 70s, where an awful lot of Westerners were on a kind of a circuit, running to Goa when it's too cold in the north. They'd go down, going here and there. And so the overland route was populated with Westerners traveling from Europe to India. So that network of people on the road, and the contact was always face to face. It was always one-on-one reportage of what a course was like.
Well, in those early days, the Western students who were sitting with Guruji, they became very inspired to want to help the Dhamma in any way, and they tried to help get a Dhamma established in their home countries, gypsy camps in Western country, and it just sort of snowballed. People became more inspired with the success. And Guruji gave them all the encouragement to help, help the Dhamma spread and to reach those people who weren't able to travel to India. So it just evolved like that. And what we see today, in just every country around the world, there are these courses being held. And it's been just a natural progression as the Dhamma spread out.
Over time, grateful old students started to acquaint people with this technique through various media. Many started to write books. The first one being The Art of Living by Mr. Bill Hart. Others made films and documentaries for the wider spread of Vipassana.
People came to courses because they heard about it from somebody they know, usually. There were hardly any news articles, and the only thing that was shot on video in our courses or of Goenkaji was the discourses. I realized if I want to help him so that the whole world will hear about it, it has to go through mass media, and mass media in those days was television or cinemas.
These efforts played an important role in informing people about this life-changing technique. Dhamma.org website was launched in 1996, followed by VRI website in 1998. They helped in providing unified platforms for dissemination of information and inspiring people worldwide.
so many factors that all needed to be there for the Sasana to be revived, such as a common language, a world language had arisen, English. Technology had come into existence that enabled the spread of Dhamma, that instead of one person having to go around the world giving all these courses, the courses could be recorded and taped, and so many courses could be happening all over the world with this material. So I think it's remarkable that they all came together at that time to enable the spread of Dhamma, so definitely not a coincidence at all.
Goenkaji travelled extensively to give discourses and speeches at various national and international fora to spread the light of this rare gem. At the ripe age of 76, he undertook a strenuous 120-day trip across USA and Canada, travelling in a camper. This gave further impetus to the growth of centres in India and around the world. Centres in India were multiplying fast. The first international centre, Dhamma Dhara, in Massachusetts, USA, was planned in 1982. This was followed by 16 more centres in North America and 8 in Latin America. Dhamma Bhumi, the first centre in Australia, was established in 1983, followed by 7 more centres in Oceania. Dhamma Mahi, the first centre in France, was established in 1988, followed by 14 more centres in Europe. Dhamma Pataka, the first centre in South Africa, was established in 2005, and regular non-centre courses are being conducted all over Africa. Dhamma Pamoda, the first centre in the Middle East, was developed in 2014. Russia is served by a centre, Dhamma Dullabha. In several regions of the world, non-centre courses supplement the courses in Vipassana centres. 148 centres are located in Asia, with 88 centres in India and multiple centres in Myanmar, Nepal, Sri Lanka, Thailand, Japan, Taiwan, Cambodia, and China. While this spread of centres made access to the path of Dhamma easily available in many places, he took steps to help those who were keen to benefit from meditating continuously for longer periods. He developed 20, 30, 45 and 60 days long courses with their unique instructions and discourses. This effort of Goenkaji has also proven very beneficial for many students. As the time ripened, Dhamma Tapovan, a centre dedicated to long courses, was established in 1999. Besides Dhamma Tapovan, many of the centres offer long courses of different duration. Simultaneously, courses of shorter duration were developed to strengthen daily practice of the students. Today, there are 197 centres and 137 non-centre locations in more than 100 countries. These centres are supported by dedicated Dhamma servers and technological platform provided by VRI and Dhamma.org. Courses are available in more than 55 languages. This spread of Dhamma was not without difficulties. Problems were unique to each country and even to each course. Whatever the problem, the volition of servers and the ever-benevolent Dhamma had a solution.
So the day we bought VMC, there was a large town meeting in Shelburne Falls, Massachusetts. They were all very concerned that that we would be on the streets, wearing strange clothing, selling flowers, talking to their children, basically trying to take over the town. And we promised the authorities that we would be good neighbors, that we would not be doing the things that they were concerned about. Now it has been about 37 years. We have excellent relations with the town. One of the local officials even told us, he said how we've become a very important part of the town.
Well, we had so many, with Dhamma Bhumi starting right from but we have to, in the West there, we have to dig our own ditches and do all the work. Occasionally they get in some contractor, but mainly it's the old students that are doing all the hard physical work, right? The building, the digging of the trenches, everything. So, but people, it nearly becomes automatic, People just want to serve, want to help, want to, want the Dharma to spread. It seems to be nearly an automatic process.
In this Kyoto center, the government wanted to have a new road, and they wanted to build a big road. Right, going through our center, it's just going to destroy the center. We can't continue. So we kept having these meetings with the government authorities, and it seems at one point it was impossible. And I remember talking to Guruji, look, it just seems like we might even have to give up Dhammabana. And Goenkaji listened and he said, Dhamma will work. No, he wasn't worried at all. So it turned out in the end that instead of having the road right in the middle of the property, they shifted it to the end. And they cut the side of the mountain and they built the road there. It took a little bit of our land, but actually this old road, which was right in the middle of our property, became ours.
कच्छ में आश्रम बनाना था, ऐसा केंद्र बनाना था। हम काफ़ी जगह सोचते थे, कोई अनुकूल नहीं आती थी। ऐसे करते करते करीब 15 साल बाद इगतपुरी शुरू हुई तब एक जगह मिली।
5 महीने में वहाँ सेंटर शुरू हो गया। काफ़ी दिक्कत होते हुए भी इतना इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर बना गया कि 5 महीने क्रॉप निकाला, इतने देर में ड्राइंग्स वगैरह बनाया, ड्राइंग्स कोई जगह बन गई थी तो हमने मशीन लगा करके ब्लॉक्स बनाना शुरू कर दिया।
मजे की क्या बात है कि इनको रहने की कोई जगह नहीं थी, कहाँ रहे, खुला था, कोई मकान नहीं था, तो एक झोपड़ी थी चौकीदार की, तो वहाँ बाहर खटिया डाल के रहते थे।
काफ़ी डिफिकल्टीज आ गई उसमें, मगर हमारा काम चला। और 1990 में गुरुजी वहाँ पधारे।
समुद्र तट पे बैठ करके गुरुजी ने 1 घंटा साधना की कि अरबी समुद्र तू वहाँ से धर्म का संदेश ले जा और देश परदेश इसको बांट दूं। जन जन के हित के लिए बांट देश परदेश।
There was a group who were taken by 2 monks who'd done courses in Taiwan. They came back to Malaysia and told all the people in their temple, you must learn Vipassana. So 35 people, I think something like that, went with them to Nepal and sat the first course. At the end of the course, they saw a video that had been made in Dhammagiri about how to organize and serve a course. And they saw that video and said, oh, I think we could do that. So they all went back to Malaysia and rented a camp in a temple and invited one of the teachers from Nepal to conduct the first 2 courses. So they started organizing more and more non-center courses, and eventually they did get to, I think 1 year, 13 non-center courses in 1 year. They had to take all the equipment, all the mattresses. They even had a big commercial refrigerator. By then we had a Dhamma house in Kuala Lumpur, and downstairs was the storage of all the equipment, and upstairs was a group sitting place. But downstairs we kept all the equipment, and they'd get a big truck for every course, load everything into the truck, and all the old students would come and help with the loading, and then take it 3-4 hours to the course site, unload everything, set up the site. Sometimes there was no kitchen. A lot of work for all those gypsy courses. It took a long time to get a centre in Malaysia. Again.
जिम्बाब्वे में कोर्स लग रहा था, 20 आदमी थे, तो हमारा मिनिमम 20 पीपल हो तो ही कोर्स लगे, पर फिर कोई कम हुआ, कैंसिल हुआ तो 10 लोग हुए, तो गुरुजी के अनाउंस किया हुआ कोर्स कैंसिल नहीं करना। तो यहाँ से वो तलवार जी थे, तापड़िया जी थे, अपना खुद का खर्चा करके जाते थे, तो कि वहाँ से हमने एक टीचर अपन यहाँ से इंडिया से भेजे, उन्हें खाना बाहर से आता था, वो भी परमिट किया। नॉन साधक थे, वो भी किचन में रहेंगे तो रहेंगे, तो ये इस करके धर्म चखे।
When the first course in Israel happened, there were 70 some students. Later on, courses started happening as we could give them. I mean, the demand was always strong here. Not enough Dhamma workers who set the courses and could provide more courses. And so I used to come here periodically and help organize more and more courses through the years. About 9 years after we had gypsy camps, we realized the thirst cannot be quenched in Israel. We have to rent a place where we can actually give 25 courses a year. We didn't have the money to buy a center or buy a land. And so we rented a place in the desert, a cheap place. The accommodations were poor. The more courses we provided, the more the demand grew. For over 10 years, we managed to operate a gypsy center, a place that was rented, but was actually operated like any established center in the world, giving full-on courses. And so more generations of meditators grew and started serving Dhamma. And when we purchased the land near the Sea of Galilee in Israel, it was, again, a problem of money. We didn't have money. We went to Goenkaji. He was always optimistic, and he was always telling us, it will be solved. You will have a center. He was very happy with the site that we found. The name that he gave the center, Dhamma Pamoda.
Pamoda means happiness.
We had been holding courses at this one student's house for the last 10, 12 years. The main volcano in Hawaii blew, and the place where we were holding these courses was just inundated and everything. We lost every single thing we had. But what happened was that the students rose up. Well, we're not going to let this stop us, and they got together, and now we have two courses scheduled for March of next year. So we're rising from the fire, or the phoenix. We're the phoenix rising from the fire.
The first course was organized in Latin America. We're the only two servers to serve that course in Panama. So it happened that very important people came to sit that course, wives of government people. So it was a very, very complicated course, and I'm sure in many senses failing the minimum standards. To such an extent that in one of the early days, one of the women leaves the course and tells the husband of her friend, her friend was sitting the course, and she stayed. And she tells the husband of, who is one of the Supreme Court judges, that your wife is sitting in this course and it's all a sect and it's all crazy and things are not working well. The food, the timetable, the discipline, everything is totally incoherent. The husband is very shocked. Oh, my poor wife, I have to save her. So he, being the judge of the Supreme Court, calls the police and has the course stopped. to interrogate the students, and they did that twice. But still the course continues until day 7. People leave with Metta very happy as a 7-day course instead of a 10-day course.
Till last year we had 8 centers, So this year we have 13 and a half. Right? What is half? Half is a unique center. We are, just decided, that we may have. That's a Bhikkhu center.
ज़्यादा धनी देश नहीं है, गरीब देश है. तो गरीब देश होते हुए भी 12-14 सेंटर अभी हमने सुने, आज ही सुने हैं कि माउंट एवरेस्ट है, उसके बेस के आसपास एक सेंटर बन गया है और उसका नाम धम्म सागर रख दिया क्योंकि सागर वहाँ का नेपाली नाम है एवरेस्ट का. तो इस प्रकार जो है फैल रहा है.
The reason behind this phenomenal spread was the universal nature of this technique and Goenkaji's non-sectarian way of presenting it. As a result, people from different backgrounds accepted it wholeheartedly.
टीचिंग इतनी पावरफुल थी कि वो स्प्रेड हो गई. नो वी टॉट इट एज अ वे ऑफ लिविंग. It had nothing to do, in fact, it has nothing to do with religion.
What appealed to me as a young analyst and a financial journalist was that here was Guruji saying that your experience is the only truth. I was not expected to come here with any beliefs or preconceived notions, no dogmas. And that to a young mind was very appealing.
Basic message there which resonated with both Westerners and Indians, maybe in different ways, but it was a basic message that this is something universal and non-sectarian.
Many households are practicing Vipassana more and more now, and we all owe it much to Guruji. Yes, his discourses are always so inspiring and so reasonable. You have to be very reasonable, you see. Otherwise, especially young people can be very rebellious. They have to see the reason, they have to understand. Once they understand, more than half the problem is solved.
In 2012, Goenkaji took a landmark decision to teach Anapan freely to one and all. Many who were reluctant to take a 10-day Vipassana course felt encouraged to take a course after tasting the benefits of Anapana.
Dhamma have to spread now. It has started. It is just a beginning. A few drops in the ocean, it will spread, no doubt about it. Every village or every district has got a school, a hospital. Similarly, a time will come when every village, every district, every city will have meditation centers, Vipassana centers. It is so necessary for the society.